Here we are on beautiful Jones Street.
You saw Ted Jones.
And we're live.
Guys ready.
Anthony Santino, dude, thank you for being patient over here.
No problem.
In your tennis outfit. So, bro, that'll go back and forth, not really up and down.
Okay, that's
If
fine.
it goes up and down, it might just mess up
might
on you.
fall.
But no, you're good. You sound good.
I think so, yeah. I think it works.
Yeah, bro.
This-
Get
I
a
think
little
this is good.
loose. The funny thing about comedy is usually, I mean, we'll see all sorts of comedians enough times that you're like, all right, now I'm gonna start saying what up to this guy. And I think that's what happened with you and I.
Yeah.
I just saw you so many times and I was like, you know what? This guy looks like he has a friendly face. I've heard through the grapevine that you also play tennis. So
Yeah.
here you are, man, on the podcast. What's up? You good?
No, thank you for having me. I feel like I'm in a proper comedy tennis dojo right now.
You are, dude. We got the stick right there. We already started the conversation about tennis as soon as you jumped in. So you also played tennis in Connecticut. I played at UConn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and you played at Sacred Heart.
Yeah, well, we would do the UConn Invitational and stuff.
Yeah, dude.
we
Let's
would do
in
that.
stores.
Stores, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Does UConn not have a men's team right now?
No, dude. We got cut after the
Yeah, all the Title IX-ish kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Well, COVID. Careful with that.
Yeah, my bad.
All good.
I just feel like I'm...
No, you good. You sound good.
Oh, perfect. Then I'm good.
Right?
Yeah.
But it was once COVID happened, they cut the team just because, like, you know, as you can imagine, men's tennis doesn't really bring in that much money.
Yeah.
So once COVID happened, I think the budget got cut even more, and now they're just super focused on the basketball and football realm.
Yeah, like our coach would always remind us of that. Like my first coach at college would be like, yeah, you guys don't make us like the school money. So just remember, if you ever want to feel happy or important about yourself, just, you know. So I was like, okay, that's a cool precedent.
Well, you guys have...
Shu does well, though, like money-wise.
Right, but you guys have a good hockey team, right? Is that like the best investment you guys have?
Yeah, they have a good hockey
This is
team.
good. Yeah.
They just built like a $70 million arena a couple of years ago. It's kind of sick.
And Quinnipiac is really good. Another Connecticut school.
They're even better.
But UConn hockey's not even that great, which is interesting.
Right,
Why
UConn-
Quinnipiac and SHU would be so good.
I mean, you guys have the basketball. UConn basketball
Yeah.
is undeniable. And I think Hurley might be staying.
Yeah, we'll see. So the coach of the UConn men's basketball team, we've won national championships back to back. If you guys didn't know, he got an offer from the Lakers that apparently was like 8 years and close to 100 mil, but he denied it. I wonder if, I imagine he's probably going to come back to UConn, but that's crazy if he's going to come back to UConn and like he didn't want to go to Los Angeles and coach the Lakers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, what I saw in some comment sections on Instagram, which is the end all be all for everything, people were saying like, oh, you know, he has his family. His whole family's in Connecticut. You know, why would he want to uproot? I think I like valuing peace over money.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that. I mean, I'm not working on a level of millions of dollars. I don't have that.
Not yet.
Not yet, exactly. And that's the thing. You do stand up, you have to believe like one day. I mean, I'm not in it for the money, but it's like, oh no, well, if you do well, which I think we can do well, we're going to do it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, you might get to that level, but it's all about what you love doing. Like, he's just following a program he loves. It seems. It seems. You never know.
Right.
But it seems like he actually wants to be there, which is nice, and that's refreshing because lots of people are chasing money.
No, I agree. And also, his dad was a high school coach.
Yeah.
So maybe he comes from like the same kind of blood where it's just like he's just in it for the love of the game. You
Was
know?
his dad the St. Patrick's in like New Jersey coach for
I
like
think that's
Kyrie Irving and all that?
exactly
I
what
think
it
that was
was.
Bob Hurley. I think
Yeah.
either that or St. Anthony's.
Yeah,
or
and then
something.
his brother made it to the league for a little bit.
Yeah.
He was like Steve Hurley or something like that.
Yes, I remember that. They have a little dynasty. He's very animated, man. Dan,
Dude,
Hurley's like,
yeah, he's nuts. I love to see it.
hands are never in the pockets. So you played at UConn.
Yeah, I played 2.5 years there.
I wonder if you were there around the same time as me. How old are you again?
I'm 32.
Yeah, you're very close in age. I'm 28.
Okay.
So you might have been there around the time. I'm sure you played Sacred Heart a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, totally. So you know Paul Gagliardi. I don't know if you would see him.
Maybe bro, for me it was like a while ago because I played for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I didn't play all 4 years, but
Yeah.
I do remember going to Sacred Heart. You guys had a solid little outdoor court situation.
We
Yeah?
did. I liked it, and they got rid of it to build a diner. So that's what happens.
Really?
That's the priority.
So where did they put the courts?
They don't. We practice at Yale during the winter usually.
Oh, okay.
And then we play like a tennis club at Trumbull, near the school.
We played it indoors. We went to it was like the Hartford Racket Club because
Yes.
we didn't have indoor club.
Yeah. We would go there a lot.
Indoor courts.
Yeah. Hartford Indoor.
Dude, I was always jealous how close Sacred Heart was to, because I grew up in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like, it was probably like an hour and 15 minutes closer. Like anytime I'd pass by Sacred Heart, I was like, oh, maybe I should have gone here. A Jewish kid from Manhattan. I could have gone to Sacred Heart. It was so much closer to the city. Because I used to run to New York City as much as I could.
Oh, you should, as you should. I mean, this is the best place in the world.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The cool thing about SHU that would have worked for you, it's a very agnostic feeling place. You know, I mean, there's a chapel on campus, but even the chapel is cool. It looks like, you know, Lady Gaga bedazzled it a little bit. It's like good, you know, it's like fine. Like everything feels like there's a cool little bit of tradition, but it's very modernistic.
It's loose.
Beautiful, cool, loose place.
Let me pull this over. Sorry.
Yeah,
keep
no problem.
adjusting your shit. I just don't want it to hit that thing.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, perfect.
Go ahead.
SHU was awesome. I liked it a lot. I was a media major, did like some journalism.
Do you like have your own show there?
No, what I do, I worked for the newspaper, so I was like an editor on the newspaper,
Okay.
like sophomore through senior years. Because I always liked writing, that was my thing. Like I didn't know I wanted to do stand up till recently, like till I was 25. I'm 28 now, so I've been doing stand up almost 3 years. But like I just always knew I liked writing, so I was like, all right, well I'll do something like that. And then I'll learn how to edit video, so I'll be a media major, you know, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my mom's a journalist and stuff, so it was like
Well, you grew up in where?
Queens.
And you went to St. Francis High School, St. Francis Prep, rather,
yeah.
which is right off of the LIE.
Right,
and
there.
they have a good amount of tennis players there.
Yes, yeah, the dense tennis program. Like a bunch of people go to play college and stuff. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Professional Children's School.
Where's
Have you ever
that?
heard of that? It's a performing arts high school on 60th between Columbus and Amsterdam. So basically, it was like actors, singers, dancers, models, people in competitive sports like figure skating, but there weren't really that many athletes there. So I went to, like, if I needed to go to Florida on a Thursday night, they could send me the homework, and then if I needed to take a test, I can come back Monday and take the test. So it was more so I went there so I could travel for tennis. But I mean, there was do you ever hear of Christiane?
Christiane, yeah, the name's very familiar.
Yeah, she ended up going to Stanford for 4 years. She graduated there.
Yeah.
She made the 4th round of the U.S. Open, which she gave me a player's pass that year, which is great. I got some player passes over here. I don't know if you can
very
really
cool.
see.
You a hitting partner and stuff?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I was a hitting partner for Megan Shaughnessy. You remember her?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
But I mean, she was at a caliber that like she probably should have gone to that school because she was gone for like weeks at a time.
Right.
I kind of just went there because I wasn't that great in high school. And my parents wanted me to still have a solid-ish education. Yeah. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll go to this particular school. And it was a good school. It led me to go to UConn, and it was still pretty challenging for me.
Yeah.
But just going to school in Manhattan, it was just kind of like I wanted to go somewhere where I could still play tennis because it was super difficult to find court time in Manhattan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What neighborhood did you grow up in?
I grew up on 18th and 2nd Avenue.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Gramercy-ish.
Gramercy-ish.
Not proper Gramercy Park, but like Gramercy area.
Did you gravitate towards the East Village, or did you hang out in other places?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, like,
I guess
trying to think. I think like going to high school is more just like house parties and going to bars maybe in the area that would serve, you know, like 17-year-old kids and stuff. Yeah. And then I was a club promoter from like when I was like 17 and 18 years old, which was insane because I was under 21. But a lot of like my high school friends, we'd go to clubs that would just serve us. It was wild. Growing up in the city, I mean, as you know, we grew up a lot faster.
Quicker, yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Even like from Queens, we get meta about it because we're like, oh, like we're in the city, but like it's very suburban where I'm from. From Douglas, where John McEnroe's from.
Yeah, all right. So you played at Port Washington?
I would play tournaments there, but I grew up mostly playing at Go Tennis in Bayside, North Shore Racket Club, Cunningham.
North Shore, I won a tournament there, the L1B with the North Shore Towers.
Well, no, that's another place, North Shore Towers, which is actually very close to me.
Okay.
But North Shore Racket Club, they knocked it down to build condos, obviously.
Damn, they're knocking everything down.
In Bayside, yeah. This was a cool club, though. You might have even been there at some point. It's like they had like 10 to 15 hard true courts and 2 bubbles in the winter. It was a cool spot.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But that was a fun time there. I remember I played a kid from Bucknell who's like very idiosyncratic about things. And like he hit a serve that I called out and he wasn't sure. He didn't like fight me about it, but he was like, he went up to it and then he like came over and looked. He's like, what do you think? I was like, well, I called it out. So like, I mean, the mark's there. He's like, yeah, but I'm not sure if it's that mark or the other one. He was saying it inquisitively, like a scientist. And he was like, do you think we could get a line judge to check this out? I was like, I mean, I just called it out. And I'm not confrontational, but I was like, I mean, but I like to be logic based. I'm like, I mean, it's my call. Mark's right there.
But he came over to the other side of the net without asking you?
Yeah. And
That's not allowed.
I know, but like that's one of those things I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I was just kind of like, I was like, oh, why is he
So many
being
nuanced
weird? I don't
rules,
want him
yeah.
to like shank me right now.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he would. He didn't have that energy. But I was like, people get weird in tennis, as you know. We played against UConn, and there was a guy. I forget his name. I think I know it, but I won't say it. But
Yeah.
he.
You can say it. We'll bleep it.
I don't know. Is it?
God,
dude.
we'll bleep it. We'll bleep it. We'll bleep it. Oh my God, dude.
So I didn't play against him, but like my teammates were playing doubles against him. And my coach had my camera like taking pictures of people, and like he challenged a call that they made on a serve. He thought they hooked him, and then on the next point, like he was like, "All right, fuck you guys, whatever." And then he hit an overhead, like just an overhead smash to win the point. He's like, "Ball don't lie, bitch," or something. I was like, we were just laughing, and then he looked at my coach. He's like, "Did you take a picture of that?" And I was like, "It's like." What are people doing?
Tennis players are so weird, huh?
Yeah.
And then it also kind of translates to comedians, because like some comedians are weird too.
Similar idea.
It's just like a very self-centered sort of
individualistic pursuit. I didn't say that in English. But
no. But you also were firing off like big words before that, so we know you're a smart guy.
Well, that's a nice thing to say, man. I think you're smart too. Look at this affirmation.
Oh yeah,
affirmation hub.
No, but I think it's just also like the individualistic pursuit, as you said, and it's like a lot of, all right, well, what am I doing to make myself better, and how is this person getting in the way?
Yes, no, exactly. I mean, I had a conversation with my mom today about like, them, like she's supportive. My dad thinks I'm funny, but he doesn't think this could be a good career. It's one of those things. So like, I've had to have all these like breakdown talks with them, which I don't know if you've had to do that with your parents or not too, but it's like, then things come back down, and it's like every few months, it's like, all right, well, how much money are you making doing this? I'm like, I make like 14 cents, whatever,
right.
but we're figuring it out.
And it's such the long game, man.
Yeah, no, like I have things like mapped out, like, man makes plans and God laughs, but like I have a plan, and it doesn't need to go exactly that way. As long as good things come of it, that's nice, and you're living a fulfilling life. Yeah. And you plan, you set yourself up, you work hard, you have fun. Like that's what you could ask for.
Well, I've also seen your trajectory like over the last 6 months. I mean, I had seen your page here and there because like being in the comedy realm, there's only so many New York comedians, and you'll see somebody's page and you'll be like, all right, who's this guy? Then you come back a few months later and you're like, oh, this guy's growing on social media, is getting more spots and stuff like that. So your sketches have been doing a lot better.
A little bit, yeah.
And you potentially want to, we got to collab on something tennis related, bro.
Yes.
I have some ideas too.
I wrote one. I'll say the idea on this, but I'll see. So I had an idea that I think would be fun, but it could also compromise like my job a little bit. So like, because I teach tennis out on Long Island.
Yes.
And like, I haven't had
compromise your job.
Well, that's what
you're like, oh, look at this little kid. He's a piece of shit.
Oh, no, that would be perfect. Let's do that one. But that one I actually like a lot. Yeah. But like the dichotomy of like, you're supposed to be nurturing a kid. Let's mess around and call them idiots. Right. But no, like I had one where like you teach a guy and a girl. I was gonna be like, maybe I'd be the pro and you'd be like taking a lesson with your girlfriend or something. And like you're like, hey dude, like go hard, let's do it, let's go. And then like I actually just hit a decent ball and like you're overwhelmed by it. And you're like, oh, just come to the net. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like that kind of thing.
Oh, like you're hitting on my girlfriend?
Yeah. And you'd be like, you trying to show off in front of my girl? I'm like, no, you said to like just play like normal.
I love that. Dude.
Yeah, like you want.
Wait, so does my girlfriend in the situation need to be a good tennis player, or is she just be hanging? She just needs to be hanging out.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be hitting a ball, really. But like you're just there, like, and she's having fun. You're like, you trying to make me look like a cuck right now? And she'd be like, what's that, baby? Like, oh no, I'm saying like I'm gonna cook for you later or something. Like whatever. Like, bro, chill out. And then I like go easy, and you're like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I can handle it. Let's go. Come on.
I love it.
Like just like bouncing between those moves.
Bro, I feel like if we were together on a tennis court, we can just rattle off like 5 in an hour easily.
100%.
Like the doubles team that's annoying, that like gets fired up over a double fault, stuff like that.
Yeah. I love
just
that.
Easy stuff like that.
No, I'm seriously gonna write some more. Like I was starting to write that idea, but then I'm also like, I teach at the club, and like I have some couples I give lessons to. They follow me on IG and stuff. So I'm like, I don't want to like get.
But that's never happened.
What's
Has
never?
it? Like a situation like that's never happened.
Like not really, but in like little ways. You see people's facial expressions.
Yeah, but I don't think that would put you in hot water, dude. That's a pretty vague idea.
Yeah, no, it is. I agree, but I do like overly analyze and worry about things like that. Sometimes.
Sure.
I mean, I pull the trigger. I put out things. I'm like, I don't know if my mom and dad will like it. I don't know, but I'll do it. But I really try to balance it out. I don't want to. I'm not going to be a yes man to everyone, but I do like to make different groups happy. Like, I posted a bit. I mean, I've talked about this on my podcast with a gay guy who lives upstairs from me. He's a musician. Dude, this guy opened for the Rolling Stones and stuff. It was sick. And he's a really cool guy. Trey Nation, shout him out. But I posted a bit about some people being weird online about like gay people with France's new president. They're like, oh, gay people are trying to take over the world. I'm like, gay people aren't trying to take over the world. I'm like, not every gay person wants to dominate or something. You know, they just made like a little sexual quip. So like I had one gay guy freak out on me on TikTok. And I was like, no, dude, like it's satire. I'm saying these people are weird. And then I made like, I made the little quip, but I'm like, but you know, that goes for like straight people having sex too. There's doms or whatever. Anyway, so this guy freaked out and then I talked about it. But that's the thing too, is like people are going to misconstrue you. They're not going to understand context.
Yeah.
You know, with any little thing, dude. Like I put out a Sebastian Maniscalco sketch recently and a lot of people like it. And then some people are like, he's unfunny. This sucks. You suck. And I'm like, it's not even the point, dude. It's the point.
Was that the one? Was that the Jolly Rancher one?
Yeah.
Okay, dude. So one of my close friends, he listens to the pod a bunch. Jules, what's up, bro? If you're listening,
Jules.
He owns the pro shop at the U.S. Open site.
Oh yeah.
And he saw that sketch and he like commented on it, which is hilarious.
Cool.
He's like, "This is spot on."
Oh, that's nice. Wait, is his name Julian or something?
Yes.
Is he
Solo Sports?
Yes, in Huntington. Right?
Yeah.
You know it. Does he have like facial hair or something? Or am I making?
He has.
He has. Yeah. No, I've seen him. Yeah, I've met him.
But yeah, he's a great dude.
Oh, that's cool. You know him. Yeah. Does he live out there? Is he in the city? Where I would imagine
he's back and forth.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, that's a good company, man. They do.
No,
well.
I know, and he's a great pro shop, and you know, I try and work with them as much as possible. But yeah,
very reputable place.
Dude. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. That's cool. Thank you, Julian.
We got to get on the courts. Just spend like a few hours out there. 100%.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like we could riff some stuff, but I'll try to write some stuff too because I like going in with a game plan, but I also like to mess around and you know.
Yeah, we can see stuff like as things progress.
It's one of those things. As much as I think about it and worry about it, I also try not to because it's like, the most fun is doing stand up and writing. But like doing stand up is great because it's like, oh, this thing I wrote, they're connecting to it. And there's no like button or number to it. It's just like you feel it, you know?
Interesting.
Which is nice. I was thinking about it on the walk over.
So I was at this creator conference this past weekend, like the Tribeca Film Festival partnered with this content creation management program. And there were a few creators on stage talking about how you should be posting to your Instagram like it's your Finstagram in order to grow. And then this one girl, shout out Coco Moco, she was like, I think in the future, within the near future, there's probably going to be a new social media app that has no metrics, and the only people who can see the metrics are the people on the back end. Like if you do a deal with Target, they'll be able to see like, oh, this person gets 1 million views, 1 million likes. We should give our products to them. But the users can't see how many likes. The users can't see how many views. You could just see the comments on the post. And I think in this generation, like last night, dude, we had Margarita Monday, which we got to get you on.
Oh, I'm down
sometime.
100%.
But these girls were at the show and they were just all on Snapchat the entire time. And recently I did a comedy show with Snapchat, and it just seems like the younger generation is really into the non-seeing of the metrics. You know, Snapchat, it's like you post your story, people can't see how many views you have in your story. You could just tell by the comments. You could see likes, but I don't know, maybe that's something that'll change. But it's more of like a 24-hour thing and then it's gone. And it's instead of like being on Instagram and TikTok, you post something on your grid and it's there forever. And potentially your clients can see it, your friends can see it, your grandma, this and that.
Yeah.
So she made a good point in being like the next social media app that's going to go huge is something where the metrics aren't really right in your face, which I could potentially agree with.
Yeah, well, it's almost like a similar idea to Netflix. They're like, they don't give people the metrics, like they're just like, oh, it's doing well. Like they have the numbers, but they won't tell people. And that gives them leverage too.
Right.
But it's also healthy. The problem is like social media is like a drug that like you just kind of make your own meaning for it. Some people think it's the end of the world. Some people are like, I don't care. And that's a good approach. But it's like, you know, it's something we've kind of accepted. And I agree, like that'll eventually probably be the thing, but that might be by like a health necessity, you know, because right now we're like, yeah, it's unhealthy and we all talk about that, but oh, it's here and whatever, just try to do better with it. It's like a cigarette. It's like, you know, we know it's
everybody smokes.
Right. People
know they need to cut down.
Yes.
But whatever.
But yeah, like
it makes you feel good sometimes.
Right. And it's like some people could smoke forever and live to be 110. And some people are like, oh my God, my lungs are gone. What happened? So people know, they're like, well, I mean, my grandpa smoked. He was fine forever.
You know, I think if you talk about just like the toddler stages, it's like the vape. You know, we don't really know we know it's bad because you can charge it in your computer.
That's not great.
But some people get popcorn long after a month. Some people do 3 pods a day or whatever the metrics are. So we know that in the future it won't be good, but at the moment, we're not looking to change it.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing too. I'm just trying to like with social, it can affect your mental health. And I do think about that, but I'm also like, all right, well, I think I've been good about detaching from the emotion of strangers. I'm like, you know what? Like I enjoyed making this. Some of my friends like it. Are all of my friends liking it? No, but why would I even be preoccupied by that? It doesn't matter. I'm like, as long as you like the idea, I think that's a big deal. That's the biggest deal, right? Like enjoying the thing you make is so, so important. The most important.
Yeah.
And you have to be self-aware to be like, all right, well, did I hurt people's feelings or is it bad? Like I might like it, but is it bad? I'm like, yeah, you gotta be honest with yourself. I like to be honest with myself, but I'm also like, all right, well, there's always a balance. I overwork. Like I work a lot of hours on comedy, a lot of hours on tennis. I don't get as much sleep, but I'm like trying to balance it all out. I'm like, all right, well, let's take this nap. Like let's not push ourselves too hard. Take that day off. I read a study, meaning I saw an Instagram post where they said if you take like one lazy day a week, like that really is super beneficial for to your physical health too.
Yeah.
Like that could prolong your life. And I think it's good to do because I live in Williamsburg, which is a nice neighborhood. There are lots of people who are like leaving you alone, but they're like, oh, carrying around potted plants and shit. Like, that's cool. And I'm like, it's nice to like stop and just walk around a little bit rather than be like, I have to rush out and film a comedy sketch. I have to do this.
Do you work out outside of playing tennis?
Not much. No, like I just kind of do. That's the thing. Like I can like stay like kind of like skinny-ish and by just like kind of jogging to balls at the service line and be like jogging back. But like I've gone through phases. Like I went through a breakup last year and like I was working out like 4 or 5 days a week in some capacity, like 20 to 30 minutes. And it was like good, like doing push-ups every day, and then I would do some weights, like, just do like an abridged version of my college tennis workout. But I haven't really been doing that stuff as much. I imagine you do. You're like healthy, you're vegan and stuff. Like you seem like you're gymming it a little bit.
Well, I don't bring my phone to the gym and then I'll run afterwards.
But that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. So
I wouldn't have that discipline.
But people even say it's psycho now, which is crazy. Because like
to not bring your phone?
Yeah, to not even run with headphones or anything. People are like, that's like serial killer. I'm like, well, our parents weren't doing it, or if they were bringing around or if they weren't, they were just bringing around like a huge Walkman.
Yeah, they were carrying like a suitcase of audio with them or something.
But I think it really does help. And then spending whatever it is, like 2 hours every other day or stuff like that without the phone, it does help. And especially with this nice weather. I mean, it's more difficult to get outside when it's cold, as you know, being a New Yorker. But now this time, I feel like it has helped. It allows me to gather my thoughts,
Yeah, well, that's the thing too, because when I'm teaching, I mostly just use like my phone as my clock and stuff. So I leave that in my pocket. But there are times where like we have like an open play at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays for men. And like I leave my phone down. I have the music on the Bluetooth speaker. I'm away from my phone though. I'm like, I feel like I'm living in like the 700s right now. Like,
what's an open play?
Open play is just like guys pull up and I organize them into like little up and down the river, like little, let's play 5 games, no ad.
Up and down the river. Yep. Oh my God. So explain that to people who have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, I know that is a little bit of a niche term. So up and down the river is basically like, say you have 3 or 4 tennis courts. You have like a top court and then the bottom court going down in a linear fashion. Like you play a few games, whoever is winning stays and maybe stay and split up. And then the loser goes down 1 court. And then the winner from court 2 goes up to court 1. So it's just kind of like a ladder system. Like, there's rankings, however you want.
Dude, oh my God, this reminded me so much of junior tennis.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and also college tennis. Did you have a good college tennis experience? Did you like it?
Really good. The fun thing was I played like number 85 singles for my school. Like I would be on the bench or I would play 6 or I would play third doubles, but I had some like fun highlight moments. Like I was a walk-on, so like, I got scholarship money through academics,
cool.
not through sports. I mean, they had like 1 1/4 scholarship to offer and split between every guy.
Yeah.
But it was so fun. Like my coach, I felt like I was invited in. Like I got into Sacred Heart University, reached out to the coach, like, hey, I play high school tennis, play USTA, don't look at my ranking, but here's a video, And then he was a nice guy, but he was a decent player. He played at Providence and stuff. He's like, yeah, man, like let's meet up. If you're coming up this weekend, let's hang out and for a little bit. It was nice. He's like, yeah, I have a walk-on spot for you. You're here. And so I felt accepted. And then, you make friends immediately. Some of my best friends, like one of them lives in Chelsea, Karin, he's a doctor now. And the other guy, Brian, he's up in Westchester, but he's moving back to the city soon. They're 2 of my close buddies. And I have other friends, Matt Dean, shout out Matt Dean, Francisco, lots of people. Corey was my roommate. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, you just make like really good friends.
Yeah.
You're in the bus, or the van. I drove the van a lot because I'm a bitch. They were just like, oh, you'll get the license. Yeah, no, it's fine.
You drove the van?
I drove the van a lot. It was me and like 2 other guys.
Not like the assistant coach wouldn't drive the van?
It depended because we didn't always have him around. Like we would have our head coach doing one van and then somebody else would do another van. I did the other van. Like,
Isn't that liability?
There's waivers. They're like, if you crash, you signed a piece of paper.
That's hilarious. I feel like being at UConn, we were, I mean, like, no offense, but I think we were
treated better, probably.
Right. And we would usually beat you guys.
Oh yeah, 100%. We were good a little bit before I got there, and then when I got there, they're like, "Oh no, we're not."
No, I remember that. Like you guys had some Polish players or like Russian players.
We had a guy from Russia, Kirill, who like
Katsanov.
Yes,
he was good. He was good. He was really good.
I think he got ATP points and stuff, and he.
Yes, I remember that. He was good. So
he was good.
I guess being from UConn, the reason I wanted to go to UConn was because of the basketball program and then the football program. When I was a freshman, we were top 25. And then that was the last time we were that good. But I just because the reputability of the sports program is like why I wanted to go there. So I think they wanted to keep everything as legit as possible. Yeah. Just besides not having any or maybe we did have like one scholarship on the team, but I wasn't on scholarship.
No, but it's a sick place. Do you have the creamery of the ice cream place?
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
From you know about it? Yeah,
we would always go there. Yeah, the cows are right next to you.
Yeah, dude. It was just in the middle of nowhere, and like I was saying in the beginning, it was like anytime I could get to the city, dude. I was so excited to get out of there.
Did you take the train or would you bus?
I took the Peter Pan bus.
Which is probably really cheap, right?
It was like $10.
Well, that's awesome,
if
actually.
That. Maybe some of the times it was cheaper, but we'd make so many stops, so it'd take like 3.5 hours.
Right. But that's worth it. That's cool.
Yeah.
You had a good college tennis experience. Did you like it?
I think so, man. I got in trouble for smoking pot.
Okay.
And
cool guy, bad boy over here.
No, dude, well, I felt
this guy.
I felt like I didn't want my college experience I didn't want my tennis experience and college experience to damper each other. And I think by the time like the end of sophomore year rolled around, I was like, all right, I kind of wanted to shift out of this because being on the tennis team, dude, and being in the bottom of Division I, it wasn't that fun. It was like we were training so much. Yeah. And I was kind of like, for what? Like, what am I doing this for? And then when I transitioned to not being on the tennis team anymore, I was able to take drama classes. I was able to take improv classes. I started my own show at UCTV, became a journalism major.
Nice, man.
So it was cool. I went through an awful relationship, which, allowed me to grow and stuff, like a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
But it was like a lot of different things.
When did you start stand-up?
I was, that show at Black Cat on Friday nights with Danny Palmer?
I know Black Hat has shows. I know Archive does one. Yeah, but I do.
Well, they do that.
I've never been.
They do like a Friday night show, and probably like 7 years ago, I would go and I would just freestyle on stage for a few minutes. Like they would put me up in freestyle rap, and I don't know. I don't know if you have heard of Fat Baby, but that was like a club back then where they used to host a show. So I went up there like once or twice, but I would always like for 3 years, I just dabbled in it, where I would go on stage like once or twice a month.
Yeah.
And then when I started to get into it fully was like over 3 years ago, like 3.5. So I would say that I've probably been doing it for like 5 years if you put like an actual number on it. But like I've been doing Ted Jones World stuff for 3 years now, just full time. And I used to work in real estate.
Oh, that's awesome. So dude, good for you. So you're creating your thing,
Yes, the
that's
brand.
That's what I want, man. I want to be able to create my thing, which we all have to do in stand-up, I rap too, though, by the way. I grew up high school. I put out songs.
Dude, we got a lot in common, man.
Made some beats. Fun. I like to freestyle for fun too. We're gonna do that too. We'll figure it out, dude. We'll freestyle at the National Tennis Center.
Once we see the courts, man, our brain will start firing.
It'll go. Yeah, that's the something I've been telling people a lot recently. I was listening to Pete Lee on a podcast. And he opened for Louis C.K. like a while back, early 2000s, and like Louis was like, "Oh, like dude, great set, but you're doing a lot of the same stuff. Like, why don't you just try a few new things? Why not like on that bit, like add to it, like trust your funny a little bit." And he was like, "Oh, I like that idea, like trusting your funny, because like I feel really confident in like the stuff I have in my act, but sometimes I'm like, oh, like dude." Try to just riff attack, riff this, riff like, not just riffing in between as a segue, like riff on that bit. Like I want to do more of that.
Are you hosting a lot now?
I host my show in Brooklyn, and then like
Easy Lover.
Yeah, and I've hosted once at the Pair. Like I don't really host too much, but hosting's good for that. Obviously, you build the muscle. And do you host a lot?
In like my first couple of years, I was doing the Ted Jones comedy show at the Stand.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'd host that like every 2 weeks.
That's awesome,
And
man.
then on top of that, I have previously done a lot of hosting. Yes, I've done. Yes, the short answer is yes. I've done so much hosting.
Yeah.
and I'm definitely good at it. But there's obviously value in not hosting, in hosting. So for those of you listening and watching, hosting a comedy show is more so making the audience feel comfortable, number one, and really focusing in on your material, number two. And then just being a comic on the show, it's just, you were going up there and doing your material. You know Luca Farro?
Yeah.
Last
Chicago,
night.
man.
Yeah. He hosted Margarita Monday last night.
Nice, there you go.
So I'm trying to
Have other people do it.
drift away from hosting. At least like I know people that will hold the vibe up,
Right,
who I can
right.
trust to do that, and then I'll do a longer set at the end, which is
Totally.
what I did last night.
That's great. How much
Yeah.
time did you do last night?
I did around 15 minutes.
Great.
But I would like to get a little bit longer. I've done 20 minutes in the past on that show, so that's where I probably want to.
Yeah. Do you try to organize stuff on the road a bunch or no?
Not as much, just because I just like being able to do a bunch of stuff in the city. I could work and do multiple things on singular nights. But like I open for like my buddy Julio. I'm opening for him in St. Pete in a couple months.
Nice, dude.
So I don't really try and organize that many things on the road. But I'm on the road probably every 6 weeks or so. I'll do
Nice.
a road gig or something like that. You spend any time traveling to like Chicago, LA?
I want to.
Things
That's
like
the
that.
next thing too. Is like I have some friends who live in LA, and I can ask them for recs, and they can help out maybe even. But like I want to do more of that. But also I kind of subscribing to something you touched on earlier. Is like I like being in New York. Like I think New York's the best.
It's the best, bro.
It's the best.
And also since we grew up here, we know how slow every other place is. Like you can't
Yeah.
do 5 spots in any other city.
Right. Well, LA's got to drive everywhere. There's so much
Dude.
traffic. And Austin seems cool, but there's also a seemingly like I'm not saying this politically. There does seem like a specific vibe to it where I'm like New York, you kind of have everything, and like why not be working within everything? Make every kind of person try to laugh. Like that's what you want. You want your stuff to be able to do that. Granted, also, like, it is good to go to the middle of the country and test material. Like, if you could do it well in New York and well there, that seems like a good barometer. Maybe I'm lucky enough to work at, like, a great place like The Cellar or The Stand
Sure.
in your comedy club, so I could work out in the city during the week, maybe do some one-nighters.
You will, bro. You
That
will,
would be
bro.
nice. I
You
appreciate it,
will.
dude. You have the right, like, this is nice. Good energy, man.
Yeah, dude, of course.
Ted's got the best. Dude, keep watching this show. Like,
Appreciate it,
never
bro.
stop.
Appreciate
This
it,
is
man.
great.
But just to talk on the actual personal life of
Yeah.
things. You have a girlfriend right now or no?
No, single right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying it? You
I
got
like
to.
it. Yeah, like I've been on like some good dates. Like I'll do a thing like this. Like I met a couple of girls, even like I'll do a thing like this. Like
No, trust me, I need to hear it.
no. Like I
We need to hear it. Us bros. Dude, like somebody said the other day, Chris Reeder, who you know,
Yeah.
said to me the other day, he's like, dude, what's it like being a tall, good looking guy on the dating apps? I'm like, bro, it sucks.
I don't do well
What do
on
you
the
mean?
dating apps.
Dude, it's terrible.
Yeah, because like when I'm myself in person, it works better. When I'm myself on the dating apps, they're like probably find 5 icks about it or whatever. You know, they don't.
They'll go straight to the IG. And be
They don't
like,
want a
"What's this
guy
doing?"
They don't want a guy unless you're perfect looking. Like you look like the lead singer of Mainskin, which I just started listening to. They're amazing. Holy
Mainskin? What the
dude,
fuck?
they're so. Do you know them?
No.
Italian rock band or Maneskin, however they say. Mama.
Maneskin.
Yeah, but Sebastian Maniscalco or whatever. But dude, like they're unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Have you heard the recent like cover of Begging, like begging you,
Bacon. Oh.
Bacon.
Yeah.
Like a Jamaican guy
vegan.
saying bacon.
Yeah.
Bacon.
Bacon.
Have you heard that though? The song, the Begging.
Yeah, but I don't know if I've heard the remix.
There's a remake that like Mainskin made. Dude, they're so good. I like every genre. Like I like rap, pop, everything.
Anyway, but what's that? I want to hear your thing.
What was
you
it?
do?
Oh, the girls.
Before you get
Oh,
to the
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
before you get to your thing.
Oh, yeah,
I think
yeah.
also being a comedian, and we're not at our peak yet. It's like being on a dating app, and then they'll go to whatever, look at our stuff. They'll be like, oh well, their numbers don't look like Matt Rife's numbers right now. So it's like, all right,
there is
well,
that premonition.
Sure.
But when you meet someone in person, that's the thing. Like I've met 3 girls now within the last year at the Pair who I've gone on dates with.
Wow.
2 I went on dates with. 1 I met. She lives in Miami. What's up? I won't say her name. You're awesome. But
Emily.
Emily. I wish. No, I'm just kidding. No, you have a better name than Emily. Even sorry, but anyway, she's Latina. Anyway, what's up? I hope she's watching. But
You gotta bleep that out. No, I'm
no,
joking, I'm
keep
joking.
it.
We'll keep
So
it. Go ahead.
we're gonna get married, but we no, and that's the thing. Like in person, you see how you can actually connect with the person. They're like, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this right now. I saw me outside. I helped sell the tickets, and then but a girl you connect with is like, no, like I saw you. Like I think you could be good. Like they'll say something nice to you, and encouraging, and you're like,
So
oh,
what?
that's sweet.
Right, but so what do you do?
So like I went on a date with one girl, and I knew like I wasn't sure about the chemistry. I could tell she might not give it any more time, but I was like, all right, well, I've been broken up with for 6 months. I'm like, I enjoyed that I went out and I tried. And then last weekend, I went on a date with a girl who was great. She's like, I'll just say, I'm not gonna say her name or anything, but she's a neuroscience researcher, and she's smart and just very engaging, and she's curious about comedy, but you could also see she's got her own world. And I was like, oh, that's like nice. Like, we can talk about the things we like, and she works in medicine, so that's relevant to everybody. So, and then she ended up like she's like half in, half out, so she's not really giving it much. She like texted me the other day, like, oh yeah, I can't this weekend. We'll see maybe another time. And then I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But seems like she's kind of out a little, which is fine. Like, sometimes people want to feel the full thing, and they're like, I'm out, Like,
What were you gonna say before I cut you off? You said like, this is what I'll do.
oh no, all I was gonna say is the pattern I've had in the last year is like, I'm not expecting to meet my wife right now, but I'm giving it more of a chance than I used to. Like, I had a great girlfriend last year. So this is interesting, actually. I teach tennis. My ex is my boss's stepdaughter. And I met her a while ago at like a barbecue like 2 years ago. And I would like text her to hang out, but then she would get back to me the next day like, oh, sorry, I went to bed. And I thought she was just making up an excuse. But like, she really like had to go to bed to wake up early to do something. She was like, because I didn't know she was into me. And then at like their wedding, I was there. I was the wedding officiant. She was like, are you going to hang out with me? I was like, yeah, I've texted you. She's like, yeah, but like you didn't try hard enough. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry. I didn't know you liked me. So then we dated for 6 months or so. And she's great. She's an awesome person. But after that, I was like, that happened very naturally and organically. I'm like, I'm going to try to date, but I'm not out here like desperately looking for a wife. I'm like, this is the time I want to hit comedy hard.
So you're
like,
on dating apps or no?
I deleted them. I've had them deleted for a few weeks now, which is good because
Love that, bro. I deleted them 2 days ago.
good for you, dude. Because it's like it's doom scrolling, and like you might get a match that you're kind of interested in every once in a while, but something falls apart, or you don't know how they are as a person. You could see what they look like, and you can see some of what they like or are interested in. But it's like I've gone on 2 dating app dates ever. And they were fine, but like I really just didn't connect with the person that much. And I was like, I'd rather see it in person. I'd rather see what we've got in person. What's their sense of humor? Like, can you have fun and riff with them, or is there going to be some awkward, stale energy in between that you're like, we feel weird together. Like I don't know. Some people have gotten married. Some people have 10 children off the dating app.
That's true.
I don't want to though. I want to meet people in person. How do you view it? You want to do the in-person thing too? Or?
Yeah, dude.
Do you have a girlfriend right now? Are you dating anyone?
No. I mean, like the last time I had like a full serious relationship was before I had my jaw surgery. You can see this scar here. I had like invasive jaw surgery. I had TMJ. They like re-put my jaw into place.
Oh, okay.
And like that was around the time I went vegan, around the time I started the podcast. And it was just kind of like a life change. So in doing that, I like switched to doing from real estate to doing like Ted Jones World stuff for the most part. And that was the last time I had a serious girlfriend. And then in between then, I've had like a few things here and there, but nothing that's lasted like more than 2 months.
But I think it's good to not force it. Some people think, my parents obviously want me to have a girlfriend and like get married, have kids at some point. They want me to have a different career.
Right, but life has changed since our parents grew up.
And the argument I always use with them too, which I mean, it has, and more people are doing creative pursuits. But I say to them, I'm like, listen, like, there was Lenny Bruce, there was Mark Twain, there's Bob Dylan. These are amazing people I'm referencing, but it's like they had to have a singular focus and a drive to stand out. They didn't say, well, I'm going to do this job my parents told me to do, and then I'll do my thing at night. It's like, yeah, they had to work during the day, but they were like, they had to be kind of nomadic about it for a second until people caught on. You gotta have to just believe in yourself and be content with yourself. I'm not here to I make my parents happy in a lot of ways. Like I'm pretty present and obedient with a lot of stuff, but I'm like, no, like I gotta do what I want for my career. It's important, and I feel confident in it, and it's nice. Like the last few months, some of my I feel like I'm getting some more followers, a little bit, all relative, it's all relative. It's like I don't have a ton, but it's like more than I had because of my comedy. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Like some people connect to my stuff. And ultimately too is like what I love the most about stand-up is like it takes the numbers out of it. It's like, all right, here's a bit. I like this. I think it's funny. Let's see what they think. And when it works, you're like, wow, that's awesome. And when it doesn't, you're like, all right, I'm a human. I make mistakes. I think I'm good about not beating myself up too. Is like when something bombs, I'm like, all right, like write it better or don't do it and figure it out. I love that figuring it out process.
And that's very tennis too. Tennis minded.
Yes.
You got to figure it out.
Got to be a problem solver. Yeah, tennis is individualistic, which I used earlier, and I finally pronounced it properly. But yeah, and also though you try to find your balance of community. Like you're at the shop a lot, and some other clubs I'm sure too. Is like, and I'm at the Pair mostly, but like you have a community, and then I have my other comedy little pockets of like my Brooklyn friends and whoever I know from this or who shoots more sketches and whatever. And it's nice being able to. I feel over time more and more like I don't have as much of a complex of like, do I belong? Like I feel like I belong a little bit more and more. There's always that feeling of like, if I'm going to go to a new room or new environment, like I'll be like, oh, do they like me? How do they feel about me? Somebody does, maybe. Somebody might not. I don't know. I do get in my head, but not that much as anymore.
Have you shot any tennis stuff?
I've shot like a couple of at least one pickleball one. I don't think I've done a tennis one yet, but I want to. And tennis is relatable. So many people play tennis, dude. So that's why I'm fully down to do one with you. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do at least one, if not 40.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude.
If not 40,
I'm more on the side of doing 40.
But that's good. And that's the thing too. Like everybody approaches social differently. I like the idea of, quality, but I also want to do quantity too. I think quantity is important. Like take a shot.
It's both, yeah, because people focus so much on quality, it freezes you.
Yeah, so why be precious? Like I like being precious to a degree, but I don't want to be too precious either. Like, dude, a lot of my friends are doing well. Like, so there's JJ, and then there's Yvette's doing well with her stuff, and Momo's done well with his stuff. Momo takes a little time to put stuff out, but at first he was putting out like 3 videos a week at least of like very involved shooting styles and like coverage and. Yvette puts out like multiple videos a day. JJ multiple videos a day.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm trying to do multiple videos
that's
a day
cool.
now.
I think it's good. I don't think it's bad. I think ultimately, like, I used to think like, oh, well, if I post too much, will this stifle the other video or will people see too much of me? But I'm like, no, they're all different ideas and it's going to hit a different piece of the algorithm. I was even watching like Adam Mosseri yesterday on the podcast, the head of Instagram.
With Colin and Samir?
I was starting to watch that.
Okay, can you tell us some details on it? Because I saw it was an hour and a half, so I got shy. I didn't watch it.
No, I got shy.
Maybe I should.
I watched the first 20 minutes. I want to finish it though, like tonight maybe. And it was really good. I feel like he answers questions. He's not
by the way, it's like the CEO of Instagram.
CEO of Instagram. Yeah, and he's basically saying like, the algorithm, like, yes, shares are very important. So he affirms certain things that you like already think about, but he's also like, yeah, but like it is ever changing. You just want to make something that you feel is relatable, and then it'll spiral from there. I think ultimately when something's good, it'll probably do well. Sometimes you get surprised, but I don't know. My takeaway is to not overthink.
Yeah, and I think you said it. You probably hit the nail on the head. I mean, as much as all of us know about social media, it just seems like relatability will trump all. Because if it's relatable to someone, they'll watch the full video, they'll maybe watch it again, and then if they think it's relatable enough to where their friends could talk about it, they'll put it in the group chat. Yep. And then if it's relatable on that point, they'll share it with those other people. But yeah, I think relatability is probably number one.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's also stand-up too.
That's the thing too, is like I have the one thing with my stand-up, partially why I don't post a lot of my stand-up is like I have bits that I'm like really happy with that do well in person, but I'm like, okay, I know if I post this, it's not going to hit because it's about my life kind of specifically, and someone might kind of relate to it, but I want to do more of like the observational stuff to post, like I posted a while ago, like maybe 2 years ago, I posted an Italian American bit that did okay because it was a pretty broad topic.
Yeah.
But if I'm just like, oh yeah, I met this guy, I speak a little Spanish. I'm like, oh, I met this guy who asked me for directions in Spanish on the street. So I told him I have like some good little misdirects.
So why don't you repost it?
What, the Italian one?
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea. I should. Also, somebody told me it was too similar to a Dom Irera bit, but I'm like, it's a general idea. He has like a no disrespect. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I should probably and not
Yeah.
worry so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say over like the last 3 months, I've taken stuff from like the archives of stuff that I posted a while ago that did really well, and I'll just repost it.
Oh, that's awesome. A quick question about
Yeah.
that. Has the repost like done pretty well too?
Yeah.
Because I heard this a while ago, but I feel like it's been debunked. Somebody a while ago said if you repost, it's not going to work as well. They'll know
Well,
that.
I think it depends. Have you seen some of these pages that will just repost the same thing every day, and they just title it like day 15, day 16,
Right,
day 17.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Those pages, and
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
see like one day it'll get 100,000 views, the next day it'll get like 6.6 million. It's
Right.
different. It's different every time.
Right, and I think that's probably evolved. So that is
Yeah.
good. So that is something to keep in mind. I should repost.
Yeah, and it's also going to go to different people. And you know, in the past, like you were saying, I was like, who's going to see this? Who's going to like it? That's seeing their face too much. Like, if the people that follow me see my stuff too much, and they're like, oh, he's reposting the same stuff, like they can unfollow me.
Yes.
I'm not looking. I mean, I am looking to please the people that do follow me, and I want them to enjoy themselves following
Right.
me. But at the same time, you got to get to a point where you're like, okay, you're also looking for the new people to come in and watch.
Right.
And you know, it'll get to a point where we're at, you know, 100 billion followers, and then you're
Naturally.
like, okay, and then you're like, okay, well, now I'll maybe focus more on the quality of stuff, and I don't want people to unfollow because they're bored in a certain way. But I think it's the
build it up first.
yeah, it's the build
100%.
up. It's the
Definitely.
build up.
Yeah, and I was thinking too, like being preoccupied. One thing I will say I'm guilty of, like I don't think I have too many toxic habits. One thing I've done that I needed to stop is like if I'm going through a breakup or if there's somebody I think isn't like vibing with me or something, I'm like, I wonder if they unfollowed me. So I check that. I check that stuff. Like I'll go to my followers list and I'll type in the first few letters. And I'll see.
I don't think that's toxic, bro. I think people do that.
I don't think it's the worst habit, but
Yeah.
it's not healthy.
No.
It's not. I like that coverage.
But bro, people do it. People do it.
People do it, I'm sure, but like it's like
Yeah.
last year when my girlfriend broke up with me the last time. Like we went back. She mostly broke up with me. She was winning on the scoreboard. I would check, and it was a good breakup and everything, but I would check like every day, like 3 or 4 times a day if she was still following me, dude. And that's probably a conservative estimate of a number. Like I would check a bunch of times a day if she was still following me. Quietly. I wasn't telling people. I wasn't announcing to the neighborhood, hey, I'm going to check, guys, but I would do it. And obviously I don't do that now.
Bro, that's a funny sketch.
For sure. Well, yeah, but it's a sad one.
It's true.
That's so-
But there's humor behind it.
No, I mean, I wouldn't be sad. I would just be like, people would watch that and be like, oh, this doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
But it is funny because it's pathetic. And it is
Yeah.
pathetic.
I mean, bro, but we all do stuff like that. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I feel like it could be worse, But granted, now I'm like, I mostly see like I'm getting a few more followers, and here and there I'll be like, oh, I went down one. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not going to like go to check my guesses. I'm not going to do that. And I don't, which is good. But I would have easily done that in the past.
Yeah, no more. I mean, that's what I mean, bro. We're in the toddler stage. I say it again of like, this social media stuff, and it's starting to affect us. And I think it started to pick up, I'd say, during the pandemic when you started to see a lot more specific content on the TikToks and Instagram, and especially with us comedians, like that's when we really started posting our stand-up clips.
Yeah.
And posting more sketches like that.
Yeah.
It was like the Vine days where the videos were 10 seconds and it was just like a quick punch. And then it was like, that was funny. And then you rewatch it again. But more and more videos are getting longer, and it's more intricate things that are in the videos. So
yeah, we have our own specific relationship to this stuff.
Yeah.
And, even I've had like mostly good rapport with comics, but I've had a couple of comics like randomly unfollow me. I'm like, oh damn. I know one of them makes it like the first year I was producing shows. I have one theory on why one comic unfollowed me. Just a theory.
Yeah.
But I saw him the other day for the first time, and I shook his hand. I'm like, there's no real problem.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what's up, dude? And he's like, oh, hey. I could see on his face he was like, I don't know if I have time for this guy, but I'll shake his hand and then I'll leave. But I did a show at Easy Lover, and it was when I was like still charging for like $10 or whatever for tickets. And I was paying comics. I was able to pay comics. But I was doing it based on like, I booked this one female comic who does okay, pretty well. She's able to tour a little bit. And so I paid her a little more because she was like, to me, she was like a draw. She has like a few more followers than everyone. And so I was like, oh, I'll be able to pay her $25 for her spot. And then there's this other comic, a guy who's younger than her, but I think she's buddies with. I paid him like $18 for his spot because I was like, oh, well, this is what I can allot to people a little bit. And I didn't make it public because I come from film. I did film, and I'm like, oh, people don't talk too much about money. Like, to be a professional, you don't like overdo that talk or whatever. So I was like, oh, they're not gonna like talk about money or whatever. But maybe in his head he was slighted that I paid her a little more because maybe he sees them as on equal footing. Where in my head I'm like, oh no, she's funny.
Dude, this is such a classic like comedy producer thing. Like,
right.
Sometimes, like in the past, dude, I've done that too.
Where and a lot of times it makes sense. You're like, okay, well, we have a headliner, and they're going to be paid more than the feature. You know, there are different kinds of show structures. This was kind of like a showcase style show. Everybody did a similar amount of time. I might have even given her more time to do too. So I was like, oh, there's a justification of that. But whatever. And then long story short, he unfollowed me. He also, you know, I think he cuts down on followers. People that care about ratios sometimes. I was like, maybe he cares about that.
This stuff is so whack, dude.
Right. But again, it's like, I'm also overthinking it.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry about this stuff.
You don't need to.
At all. It's time consuming.
It's time consuming, bro. That's why I deleted the dating apps, bro. Like spending an hour a day on fucking dating apps.
Too much.
Maybe not that long, but like spending, you know, a good amount of time when I could just be posting stuff or creating stuff. Yeah. It's too much.
Yeah. I just, you know, like I like meeting people in person better. And so it's if I feel better that way, why would I give time to the thing that I don't feel good about? The dating apps were discouraging, dude. Because I've, you know, in real life, I've had nice moments with girls. Whereas on the dating apps, I've had like 2.5 nice moments that never materialize anyway, really. So I'm like, what am I doing here?
If you're a guy and you crush on the dating apps,
there's something wrong with you.
Well, but I wonder what the specific thing is, what the specific draw is.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Like, a lot of times they're not giving too much away usually.
But you get in person. And it's very hard to get online.
Yeah. So, you know, basically I'm going to meet my wife off Tinder is what I'm saying. No, hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Although you never know. I'm trying to keep them off my phone. I hope you are too, man. I don't know.
Anthony, this is great, buddy. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Before we get out of here, we're going to pop up your Instagram. Let us know where we can find you. And if you have anything exciting coming up in July, this will be up on this Thursday. So today is Tuesday, but please let us know where we can find you and what you got coming up, bro.
Yeah, just if you can, like I'm on Instagram at Anthony Santino. My YouTube is Anthony Santino. That could use some help, I'm sure. TikTok, until it gets banned, Anthony.Santino. And yeah, dude, keep watching and following Ted Jones.
Dude,
and
appreciate it.
Great guy. I might have to become vegan after this. We'll find out. You know, let's go.
You heard it here first. And until we see each other on the tennis court, hopefully within the next week or two, right?
That'd be awesome. We should. I'm going to try to expedite that.
All right, cool. Anthony, you're the man, dude. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Sweet.